The carnivore diet has surged in popularity in recent years, and for good reason. It has personally changed my life as well as millions of lives around the world. In this video, I'm going to give you 7 insane benefits that you can expect to experience if you start the carnivore diet. So by the end of this video, you think to yourself, I got no choice but to give this thing a go. The first reason is an increase in energy levels. Most people think that to feel energized, you need to consume carbohydrates. This could not be further from the truth. In fact, the opposite is true. Whenever you consume carbohydrates, you get a massive blood sugar spike. But the problem is that these blood sugar levels come crashing back down, and they don't stop at their baseline, they go below their baseline. When you're in this state, your body thinks it's run out of fat. You get ridiculously hungry, your energy drops, you just feel terrible. Not only this, but because carbohydrates come from plants which are inflammatory to humans, every cell in your body is damaged. Now our cells are what produce our energy. So because these cells are damaged, they're a lot less effective at producing energy, which is why most people just have very low energy levels. However, on carnivore, all of these cells heal. Your mitochondria, which is the part of the cell that's responsible for producing your energy, is able to function significantly better. This is a massive tangible difference. Before I started carnivore, I never had the best energy levels. In the mornings when my alarm would go off, I'd snooze it as many times as I possibly could to sleep for as long as possible. However, within a week of carnivore, I was waking up at 4 AM before my alarm even went off. And 18 months later, I have more energy than I've ever had in my life. During the day, I used to have energy fluctuations because of the blood sugar spikes. However, now I have constant, incredible energy. It truly is a complete game changer. The next benefit, which is going to shock many of you, is a massive improvement in mental health. Most people think that their mental health is determined by external factors. However, your entire perception of reality is based on hormones. 2 of these key hormones are dopamine and serotonin, and what's crazy about this is that 90% of serotonin and 50% of dopamine is created in our guts. What's particularly noteworthy is that if you were to go to a psychiatrist and say, hey, I've been feeling a bit down, I've been a bit depressed lately, they would prescribe you a SSRI drug. Now what this stands for is selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor. The entire purpose of this thing is to increase your serotonin levels. But what they don't mention is that if you just clean up your diet, remove all these plant toxins from it, your gut's able to heal and it's much more effective at producing this serotonin. A very fascinating example of this is that of Kerry Mann. He was chronically depressed his entire life. He goes onto a carnivore diet, removes these plant toxins, so all of the hormones that make him happy were able to upregulate. And within a couple of weeks, his lifelong depression had gone. But the craziest part about all of this is that after he had been on carnivore for an extended period of time, he went on a cruise where he had no choice but to consume meat that had been cooked in seed oils. But even despite not a single external circumstance in his life changing, his depression came back. The oils that he was consuming was causing inflammation to his gut, so they became less effective at creating these hormones again, which significantly impaired his mood to the point that he did not want to leave his room. Then as soon as he got off the cruise, was able to go back to eating a strict, proper human diet, his depression went away again. The next benefit is fat loss, but not just fat loss, the easiest fat loss of your life. On every other diet, you are up against it when it comes to fat loss. First of all, you're consuming these foods which are inflaming your cells. Now, when your cells are producing less energy, you're burning less energy, so your metabolism slows down. But to make matters worse, not only is our metabolism downregulated, but our appetite is upregulated. I talked about earlier the blood sugar spikes. Every time our blood sugar elevates, another hormone called insulin also elevates to bring it back down. The problem with insulin is that when it elevates, it blocks another hormone called leptin, which job is to say to your brain, hey, we're full, we can stop eating now. So on a traditional carb-heavy diet, you're being screwed because you're super hungry all the time and your metabolism is so down-regulated that you're not burning any energy. And remember, fat is stored energy. But on carnivore, you never get hungry. You have seemingly unlimited energy, so you're burning ridiculous amounts of energy. It is a complete game changer when it comes to getting in shape. The next benefit is just that you have no hunger. For a large part of my life, I essentially lived for the next meal. My life sort of revolved around what meal was I going to have next. I was constantly hungry, super addicted to food. However, on carnivore, when you remove these processed foods, your brain forgets how much pleasure it got from them and you stop thinking about it. The human psyche is wired in a way where we are constantly either avoiding pain or seeking pleasure. Now, all these ultra-processed foods are made by teams of scientists whose sole purpose is to make it as pleasurable as possible when you eat it. So what happens is, because your body is constantly trying to seek pleasure, it thinks about this food all the time because it knows that it's a very quick and easy way to get it. The good thing about this though is, after 2 weeks of not consuming these processed foods, your brain forgets how much pleasure it got from it. And so you stop thinking about it and the addiction's broken. Now, you never get hungry, one, because you remove carbohydrates like I just talked about, but you also become something known as fat adapted. Now, hear me out with this one. It sounds like I'm making this up, but this is a true scientific concept. When you eat carbohydrates and you run out of energy from the carbohydrates you've consumed, your body is very ineffective at tapping into its own fat, because the carbohydrates and your body fat have very different structures. However, on carnivore, because we're not consuming carbohydrates and we're consuming fats instead, when your body runs out of the energy that it's consumed from the fats, it's very easy for it to tap into its own body fat because they have similar structures. You talk to anyone that's done the carnivore diet and they will tell you that within a couple of weeks, their hunger is gone. The next major benefit is that you get to consume the greatest foods on the planet every single meal. Imagine there was a food out there that provided you with every single nutrient you needed in the perfect quantities, but it had none of the toxins. Would you eat it every single meal? Now, most people would say yes. However, humans have this thing called emotions. If you strictly analyzed what you ate like it was a game of chess, you removed all emotion and went purely based on logic, you would eat this food for every single meal. However, due to our emotions, humans eat what tastes best to them. And I don't blame us. Food tastes good, it's incredibly pleasurable, and it makes us feel happy. But here's the thing. Your taste buds start to change. Over time, once you remove all this ultra-processed food, the meat just starts tasting better and better. And after a while of not eating that stuff, when you do eat it again, it just tastes like chemical garbage. There was this one energy drink I used to absolutely love. I would get it every day on my way to the gym. But after being on carnivore for a while, I tried it again. It tasted so bad, literally like I was drinking chemicals. I had to throw the thing out. I couldn't even finish it. I also used to be hyper addicted to junk food. Now it repulses me. I cannot think of a single processed food that I would want to eat. I'll let you on a little secret, which I'm sure you won't tell anyone. Everyone thinks I'm some stoic badass who's removed all emotion and acts purely on discipline when it comes to eating, because I only eat steak and eggs every meal. However, I am acting exactly the same as everyone else's. I eat whatever I want to eat for every single meal. The only thing I ever want to eat is steak and eggs. I cannot understand how there are people unwilling to try the carnivore diet. What's the worst that could happen? You eat meat and eggs for 30 days? Sounds like a pretty ideal situation to me. The next benefit, which is incredibly tangible, you can feel this, is improved hormone levels. Your entire perception of reality is based on your hormone levels. Your perspectives on many issues are based on hormone levels. There's a very fascinating study where they got men who were left-leaning politically, and they injected them with lots of testosterone. These men's political beliefs shifted over to the right. Your entire worldview is dictated by your hormones. Earlier I talked about how dopamine and serotonin are made in the gut. When these hormones elevate, you're happier. What happens on carnivore is that for males, testosterone massively upregulates. When you're eating these inflammatory foods, your whole body can't function. The average 20-year-old nowadays has the same testosterone levels as the average 60-year-old from the 1980s. The reason for that is diet. Even cholesterol. A lot of people think cholesterol is bad. Cholesterol is literally a precursor to testosterone. Your body makes a very limited amount of cholesterol. That's why all these vegans who only eat plants, which by the way, plants contain zero dietary cholesterol. You can just feel it when you listen to them that they have low testosterone. These vegan doctors I see online, they barely even speak. They squeak because they lack the dietary cholesterol they need. What's very fascinating with carnivore is that it seems to put everyone back into their natural gender roles, which is an indication that the hormones are where they're meant to be. Men get more masculine and women tend to get more feminine. The final benefit, and don't tell skincare companies I was the one who told you this, is that your skin will improve massively. There's this girl I know, I saw one of her Instagram stories the other day talking about how her skin had flared up massively and she tried all these different products and none of them seemed to be working. And I was sitting there annoyed because I knew that all she had to do was remove these inflammatory foods from her diet and her skin would be completely clear. In third world countries where their diets are primarily meat with small amounts of vegetables, they have essentially zero acne. The same thing happens on carnivore. Remove the things that are causing inflammation and your skin will clear up. I had terrible acne my whole life, but as soon as I switched to carnivore, it went away completely. Now, if you're watching this video and you're thinking to yourself, the kid's got a terrible haircut as well as moustache, but he kind of makes some good points, I want to give this carnivore thing a try, then I think you'll like this video. Subscribe for more videos like this, and I'll see you all next time.